Hello and welcome to part 4 of the fireplace. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and you notice that this is my mantle and it appears to be perfectly in line with this guy. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to move, in fact I'm just going to copy this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and type, I'm going to select this. In fact, I'm going to ungroup it now. So I'm going to ungroup it because I don't need the entire thing, I just need this. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and type in copy, and I'm going to copy it from this intersection right here. Click, and I'm going to move it up to this intersection right here. Okay, and now I'm going to hit escape. Right? And so now what I need to do is I need to run a sweep one rail with this cross section curve. Alright, so I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to move it first, and I'm going to grab it. Actually, I'm going to copy it so I can show you what not to do. So I'm going to select this guy and I'm going to type in copy, and I'm going to take this guy up from there and I'm going to snap it right to there, and I'm going to hit escape. And now before I go any further, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to grab the end point here and here, and I'm going to hold down my shift and snap it at 90 degrees. Okay, now we're going to run the sweep one rail. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to my let's see, the red layer or the black layer, and I'm going to hide that background. Okay, so I'm going to run the sweep one rail, and originally we had it here, right? It's very important that you get it set up so it's going in the right direction. Okay, so there's lots of different ways to make this thing go wrong. So if I run the sweep one rail command and I select the rail here, and then I hit enter. Whoops, run it one more time. Here's my rail. Okay, and that'll say select the cross section curves. If I just randomly grab this one and I hit enter, and I can get something, I'm going to change it to ghosted, kind of cool, but not what I wanted, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just do a Control Z, right? Now, if, for example, I took this guy and I moved it, and I moved it randomly into the center, and I ran a sweep one rail, here's my rail, here's my cross section curve, and I hit enter. That actually works, right? So now I've got myself a pretty sweet fireplace rail, and it's not really a big deal that it's going through here, right? Because ideally, right, this is at some point going to be a wall. And if this is a wall, right, you're not going to be able to see what's behind it, and you're going to get a nice bond. And if you do a render, it's going to look pretty much just like a fireplace mantle sitting there, which is pretty cool, right? Now, there are a few problems, right? This has a hole in it, right? We can always do a cap with or a planar surface command on that. That's not a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and take that guy and delete it, and I'm going to take this guy here and I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to select this one and I'm going to hide it. So I'm going to type in hide. Now, another way to do it is if you want to make sure that it works. Actually, this way it can go totally wrong as well. So if I do a sweep one and I have this closed rail, and I say this is going to be my rail, this is going to be my cross section curve, sometimes it'll work perfectly like that. Other times it won't. So I'm going to hit Control Z. If this were rotated 90 degrees, there's a good chance it might not work. So I'll say this is my rail, this is my cross-section curve, enter. Yep. So a lot of times, depending upon the orientation of the rail, right? Sometimes you put it in the center, you can get a good sweep. I'm going to hit Control Z, and I'm going to hit Control Z again. There we go. Sometimes if it's in the right spot, you can get, if it's going in this direction, then you'll get a great sweep. Another way you could do this is you could, of course, take this guy, you could explode it, and then you could take 1, 2, 3 of these, join them, and then you could run a sweep 1. Here's my rail, here's my cross-section curve, enter, and there we go. Okay. Right. And then to finish off the top, you could take this guy and that curve there, you could join it, and then you could run the planar surface command, and there you go. So that is part 1, and we've just created a pretty decent, let's go ahead and jump into rendered view, pretty decent looking fireplace mantle. Okay, I'm going to stop the lesson and we'll continue on in the next one. Thanks.